Hi everybody, today's video is about correlation and best fitting lines. Positive correlation means that as x increases, y also increases. So if we have a bunch of data points, if we were to plot them, they would be in a fashion, it's not perfect, but it's going up. So as an example, as your height increases, theoretically, your shoe size also increases. And again, it's not perfect, but we know that they have a positive correlation. A negative correlation means that as x increases, y decreases. So if we were to plot points, they would go in a negative fashion, right? As x increases, y decreases. So an example of negative correlation, the more time you spent studying would mean your hanging out with friends time would go down, right? You're spending more time studying, so you have less time to hang with your friends. So as one increases, the other decreases. There is such thing as negative correlation when the points don't seem to have any linear pattern. For example, if you were to compare height versus ACT score, you would find that they don't relate, and no matter, however tall you are here has nothing to do with your ACT score, so that would have negative correlation. That happens too. So is there a relationship between the fat grams and the total calories in fast food? Good question. We have, so you do a study and you try to figure out if all this data, and then you want to know if they correlate. So the first question says to sketch the scatter plot of the data. So I need to go to Stat, Edit, and I need to enter my data. And we're going to enter it in L1 and L2. So to do that, you're going to go to Stat, Edit, and you've got the data. If yours have any information in there that you didn't put, you can bring your arrow using the up arrow all the way up to where the L1 is highlighted, press clear, and press enter, and it'll go away. So you need to take a second and type in all of the data into your calculator. I'm just typing in a number, pressing enter gives me a new place to put the rest of the information. So I already have most of this in here. If you need another second to keep putting in your data, you should definitely be following along on your calculator. Make sure you pause, and then we can move on. So once I get everything in, I'm going to hit second quit and go to my home screen. In order to sketch, we need to look at the graph. So I'm going to need to go to second stat plot and make sure that my plot 1 is on. You have to turn it on. It's not always on, so you might have to turn it on, but that also means you might have to turn it off. So second stat plot is second y equals, and mine is currently off, is plot 1. So if I hit enter, and enter on, the rest of yours should look the same, L1, L2, we're good to go. So I'm going to go second quit. And then I'm also going to hit zoom 9. If I go to zoom, you don't have to scroll with your arrow. You could just hit the number 9, but it says zoom stat, which is exactly what we're doing. We're looking at the stat plot. And here it is. You can see that it's going up. And we're going to do the best of our ability to make it mimic what that graph does. So yours should look something like that. Take your time, make sure it looks good. Then I need to create a line of best fit equation. So the first thing I need to do is find the equation. So I'm going to go to Stat, over to Calc, linear regression. That's what that's short for, linreg. Now, here's the kicker. If you have an older calculator, yours might look different than mine. But if you look at another page, it goes through step-by-step directions. So if you have an older calculator, 283, it's going to look like number the top picture up here so you can follow along. If you have a TI-84 calculator, it's going to look like mine looks in this video. So make sure that yours looks appropriate. But if you go to stat, right arrow to calc, you're going to go down to linear regression, len reg, hit enter. So you should say L1, L2, that is the standard. And then it says store reg equation, so your regression equation. The only reason we're going to use that is because it says graph the line. So you need to make sure it says L1, L2, and then you're going to calculate. And then you can enter in Y1, but that's optional sometimes. Not here because ours says to. But to do that, we're just writing down the buttons and then I'm going to show you. It says vars, Y vars, and then you're going to choose Y1, V-A-R-S. So here we go. I'm going to show it on the calculator. Make sure you write that down. If I go to vars right here, go to the right to Y vars, hit enter on function, Y1, I can store it in Y1. So I'm going to do that, go down and press calculate. So now they've given me all the information that I need to write this equation. Y equals AX plus B, so I could use A and B to write my equation. So Y equals, well, A was 11.731 X plus B, right? That they're giving me the equation 193.852. That's my equation. Now it's set to graph the line, so that's why I went ahead and did this Y1, because if you look at your Y equals in Y1, now I have the equation that they just gave me. So that's great. I'm going to go back to my graph, and it graphs the line for me. The line of best fit is just trying to approximate all the data with one single line. So I'm going to sketch that over here. So then I'm going to use my equation to figure out how many total calories there are if your sandwich has 22 grams of fat. So X here is grams of fat and Y is our calories. So I'm looking for the calories. So Y equals 11.731 when my grams of fat is 22. And I'm just using the equation from number 2. So then I get Y equals 451.934 calories. And a similar problem, it says if your sandwich is 580 calories, how many grams of fat will it have? Well, in this case, Y is the calories. So 580 equals 11.731x plus 193.852. I can solve. So if I subtract this 193 from both sides, I get 386.148 equals 11.731x. Divide both sides by 11.731. X equals 32.917 grams of fat. Make sure you include your units. So I went through that pretty quickly, but we have all of the buttons written down so you can do a problem just like this. Again, also, if you go to the next page, it has step-by-step directions. Stat, edit, clear, type in X values, type in Y values. You know, preparing the scatter plot. It is very thorough in what you need to do. So if you have any other questions, make sure you go through those. But make sure you have this all written down. If you have any questions, come to class with your questions. See you then.